Hi, my name's Lisa Christiansen, and this week for Reading as Other, I really thought that this book, Hatchet by Gary Paulson, would be a really good choice. This book is about a 13-year-old boy named Brian who is in a plane crash. And before the plane crash, he talks about how his parents are divorced. He's going on this little tiny plane. It's just him and the pilot. He's going up to northern Canada in the wilderness where his dad is working. He is, now living with his mom and he's going to visit with his dad. And he kind of talks about how this is really kind of strange. But I'm not going to tell you exactly how it happens, but the plane crashes and Brian does survive. And this story, I think it does not fall into modern fantasy because it is realistic for people to survive plane crashes. So I would put this under the modern, I'm sorry, not modern, the contemporary realistic fiction section. And this book is probably really good for grades 5th through 8. My son is in 4th grade, and I'll probably have him read this. I think that he's old enough to really appreciate this story. My daughter, who is 14, also really enjoyed this book. She saw that I was reading it and just told me that she thought it was really good. So I think this is a really good book for both boys and girls. I know that some people talked about it when they were talking about their, top 10 books. So I saw it on my shelf and decided I was going to read it, and I was not disappointed, and I don't think you would be either. So Brian is in this plane crash and he lands, in the middle of a forest. He's by a lake. And I really believe this is realistic because Brian isn't a super tough boy. He's not a Boy Scout. He really is just trying to survive in this wilderness. And I think it's also realistic because he talks about how he thinks back to TV shows that he watched to try and help him survive. And he honestly admits that he doesn't know a lot of things. He makes up names for, fruit that he finds, and he makes up names of birds that he finds, and he really has to learn through trial and error how to survive. And it's not stereotypical of, the tough boy attitude. Brian really, he is very hopeful, but when he notices he knows it's a search plane and it goes right over him, and he falls into a bit of a depressive state, and he's despairs over feeling like he's never going to be found. But it doesn't take him long to recoup and recover and realize that he has to survive. And it's interesting as he talks about how he goes from, daydreaming about a hamburger with fries and a milkshake he could just go to the store and get, and how he has to figure out how to get food for himself. And he really realizes that the most important things is shelter and food, and then fire and water. He has to learn how to make fire to survive. And his character really changes. And there's at one point in the book, I can't remember how long he's been out there. I don't want to disclose too much about the story, but there's a part in here that he realizes the change that he is going through. So I wanted to share that. He says, "I am not the same," he thought. "I see, I hear differently." He did not know when the change started, but it was there. When a sound came to him now, he didn't just hear it, but would know the sound. He could know what the sound was before he quite realized he had heard it. And when he saw something, a bird moving, a wing inside a bush, or a ripple on the water, he would truly see that thing, not just notice it as he used to notice things in the city. He would see all parts of it, see the whole wing, the feathers, see the color of the feathers, see the bush, and the size and shape and color of its leaves. He would see the way that light moved around the ripples on the water, and see the wind make ripples, and which way the wind had to blow to make the ripples move in that certain way. Throughout the story, he kind of develops an instinct, and he doesn't know how. He knows something's behind him, or he doesn't know how, he needs to turn around or look or hear, but he just develops that. I wouldn't say that there's violence in this book. There is there's divorce, so that could be a tough subject for kids. There are details. The details are not too gory. I definitely don't think they're too gory for ages 10 and up. Like I said, I don't think they're too gory for my son. I think, that's a parental thing. But this story is very interesting, and it's a very hopeful story, and talks about perseverance. And I really recommend this story, and I hope that you enjoyed the presentation. Thank you.